Welcome to the Morning Track Power Hour. I am Dr. Andrew Scans. He is Dr. Michael Werman, Esquire. On today's show, we'll talk about the kind of bizarre Royals season. Now they're sort of winning again after we sort of looked like they were maybe falling off the table uh, against good teams, even. We'll also talk about the Copa America, a little bit about the Euro tournament as well. And but we'll lead today's show with like the big last few days in the NBA. We've got the draft just happened. A lot of international players taken to the top. A lot of the free agent movement, a lot of contract extensions, max deals, and such. What if any of that did you find most interesting from the last week or so of the NBA stories, Mike?
Um, I guess part of it is the draft, but it wasn't one of the early picks. It was probably pick number 55 when Bronny James was picked by the Lakers in a clearly nepotistic move to try to keep LeBron around, I think, for another couple of years. And I think it's probably going to work. So I think it's an interesting um, pick. Bronny James has had those heart, cardiac issues, and his stats have been pretty underwhelming in college basketball. So, but just that he was picked, I guess maybe on some potential, but basically because he is LeBron James' son, and so you want to keep him or LeBron around. Um, he was the second round pick of the Lakers. They picked Dalton Knecht out of Tennessee first. If Knecht maybe had been German, he might have gone higher, given all these international players that got drafted very high. We have a French player for the second year in a row with
Mhm.
Zachary Rissaget picked last year was Wembanyama, of course. Um, so a lot of international players, a lot of European players. Um, yeah, it's
I,
hard
I
to
know
say.
I know you're a big fan of nepotism in the NFL, especially in the coaching
Coaching ranks, yeah.
ranks. Yeah, so do you have the same thought about this in with players though, like children of players being drafted in?
Well, I
It's a
think the main
same
reason
thing.
is, well, I think it was a ploy to keep your top player. So in some ways, if you can keep LeBron playing, it's a second round pick. Second round picks often really don't amount to much anyway. So you might as well take him. He might be
Yeah,
a pleasant surprise playing with his dad,
yeah,
but at worst he's a second round pick, and if he washes out, it's basically only lottery picks and first round picks do well in the NBA. Or
generally. Yeah,
occasionally you have rando second rounders or um, kind of journeymen that somehow explode. But yeah, I don't know. I think that'll be interesting to see if they suit up on the same team uh, as next year. It's the first ever father son in the NBA that have played together. Famously, we have the Griffies in baseball were on the same team. I think Gordie Howe and his sons may have played on a hockey team together because he played
yeah,
for 30 years or something like that. But
yeah.
what did you find most exciting or interesting about the NBA draft, Dr. Scaff?
I think yeah, I thought the Bronny James pick was interesting at least anyway. Uh and then LeBron did opt out of his contract, which just sounds funny initially, but it's just because he will re-sign at a different value, possibly less money. This is maybe the first time he's considered taking less money to possibly go after some other, help to try to actually make them a real contending team. So I think the Lakers team should be interesting, but I don't know if they're gonna. Yeah, they're just so dependent on the health of LeBron and Anthony Davis too. Both seem to be a little more fragile than you'd hope they would be, at least anyway. Uh, but I do find kind of the some of the player movement to be interesting too. Like Klay Thompson finally kind of has opted out of uh the Golden State Warriors deal along with Chris Paul. So like that, like it seems like the Warriors like dynasty type players, maybe splitting up a bit. It'd be interesting to see if that continues. That maybe the end of that era,
Yeah,
maybe
other
here
than Steph
is
Curry sticking
frustrating.
around, but yeah, a lot of
Yeah, the
the
supporting cast at
supporting
least.
cast is gone. Yeah, but
So
Paul
like,
George going to Philadelphia, which was a little interesting. I think another thing that was interesting was this was also kind of tying into the Lakers is that none of those players went to the Lakers, even though I think LeBron James was wanting some of them maybe to come to Los Angeles to play. Um, but
yeah,
so that yeah, we'll see how the NBA shakes out. I think probably the Celtics are still the team to beat coming back, and still maybe I still like Denver as the top team in the West, but
yeah. Did you see the Celtics maybe for sale, Mike? Are you in the market for acquiring an NBA franchise?
if I had several billion dollars, yes, I think the Celtics they're a very marquee name, and they have a lot of cachet. But yeah, so if I was going to buy one of the teams, I think the Celtics would be near the top of my list, higher say than the Thunder or the Hawks or
You wouldn't try to buy one of the middling or low end teams to try to like build them into something you'd try to buy at the very top of the
well,
league.
if I had several
You
billion, I
have to
think
have unlimited money for basically any of these scenarios, then, right? So,
yeah, if I had enough money to buy, I think I would try to get well, maybe I would buy a mid-level team and try to move it to Kansas City,
yeah,
uh, or something like that would be
just so
my
you could be hated by whatever city you bought the team from.
yeah, and I think it'd be fun to have a team in Kansas. I think Oklahoma City shouldn't have a team. Kansas City should have that team.
Yeah.
Uh, but I don't know.
Because
It's
Kansas City was in the running for the Sonics, right? When that so
yeah.
that became the Thunder, right? Yeah.
Mhm. Really, they should be the Sonics still. Uh, I don't think that Oklahoma City should have taken it from Seattle, but um, there's a lot of weird markets in the NBA. You have like Sacramento with a team, Memphis with a team. I think New Orleans having a team is a little weird. These cities that don't have a lot of other franchises, or like there's like weird. Yeah, I think there's some weird cities that in Utah that has a team. There's a lot of cities that maybe only have an NBA team, whereas in Major League Baseball and the NFL, most of those places have multiple teams. Other than like I guess Jacksonville is a weird one. Green Bay would be a weird one for the NFL, um,
Right. But
but
like Green Bay, is not terribly far from Milwaukee, so it's sort of and they used to like share team
yeah,
in some capacity.
yeah,
So it's closer to a bigger market anyway, but yeah. Like, but
hockey's a little weird too. Yeah,
you mentioned Memphis just really briefly. They did draft Zach Edey from Purdue, the 7 foot plus center from the NCAA tournament last year. Do you think his skills will translate to the NBA?
I think he'll be fine. I don't know how great he'll be. Um,
It does seem
but
like Memphis is the right team for to try that though, because they've had some like really tall players before, so it seems like they sort of played big anyway. So it
yeah.
might be the right place for him to have some success at the same time.
Speaking of really tall guys, have you heard about this guy playing for? He's going to play for the University of Florida, who's 7'9".
Jeez.
Olivier Ryu is his name.
Oh
Uh,
wow.
he's 7'9", uh, and he's still growing. He's going to
Wow.
be a freshman, and he's huge. He was 6'1" when he was 8 years old.
Wow.
Um, and he's just he's from
He's,
Montreal.
he's not just like a stick though at
No,
7.
he's big. He's
He actually is big too. How was anyone going to have any way to stop him from getting the ball?
he was 6'11" when he was 12.
Jeez.
But yeah, uh yeah, he's really he might be the next really big thing. pun intended, in the NBA.
The literally big thing.
Yeah, he's like 5 inches taller than Wembanyama. So like he's like 7'4", isn't he? I think.
Yeah.
Um, and he might be growing still. So uh
So what is he? Do you know
he's
what
seven
is he?
he's 7'9", listed at 290.
That's pretty good size. Yeah, Zach Edey is listed at 7'4", 299.
Hmm.
So he's a little slimmer than Edey, I guess.
But he's just a freshman. He'll probably bulk up
Right.
some.
He is only a freshman. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
7'9".
Yeah.
I didn't know it was possible.
Yeah. Yeah.
And being athletic at 7'9" is
Yeah, he's not I saw some highlights. He doesn't look too bad, but he's just
fun.
huge. Like he can like, dunk really easily, and like he doesn't really, yeah,
I mean,
it's
he didn't even lift his arms all the way and dunk then, right?
no, yeah, so
Let alone leave the floor.
he's playing for the Florida Gators next year. So maybe uh as the New York Post put it, Olivier Rioux makes Zach Edey look like Muggsy Bogues. I don't think that's quite true, but Muggsy Bogues, I think, was only 5'3".
Yeah.
So I don't think that's quite true, but he makes us look like Muggsy Bogues.
Yes.
Um, George Mirazon was 7'7". I think he was the tallest NBA player ever. I mean, Manute Bol was about 7'6", 7'7" too.
Yeah.
Uh, Yao Ming
So,
was about
so
7'5".
knowing Ryu is going to be at Florida next year, are you going all in on your Florida to win the SEC bets right now?
I'm actually thinking Arkansas might win because they have John Calipari as their coach, and they've gotten a lot of players. So I think that since I'm a homer as well, since I went to Arkansas as an undergrad now many years ago, um, I like Arkansas's chances, but I
So
think
you're kind of
Florida.
hedging your bet with a Florida bet also.
I think Florida. If they are they still divided in the East and West? I think
I don't know.
Florida. I don't remember how they do it in basketball, but Florida. Yeah, that Ryu guy. He's got to be. I don't know. He's pretty big. Uh, Speaking of pretty big, uh, there was that big movie that we were supposed to be watching this week. We had said we were going to watch, and that is the reimagination or the reboot of or remake of Roadhouse, starring in this case Jake Gyllenhaal in the Patrick Swayze role. What did you think of the new 2024 edition of Roadhouse, also starring Conor McGregor, and um, some other people that I don't remember the actors' names, but
Yeah. There's a lot of TV actors. But I enjoyed the movie more than I thought I would. I thought I would just be like, I was like, oh, sure, I'll just, bear through it and it'll be fine. But you know, it was entertaining enough, I guess, anyway. Um, it wasn't the same movie,
no.
but it was which is good, I think. If they tried to just like use the same plot and it would have been, I think, very tired and it wouldn't have worked very well. I think so. I think the way they changed it up to try to like make it sort of Roadhouse, but not actually a Roadhouse remake. I kind of worked better for it. Jake Gyllenhaal and Conor McGregor, I thought, had some good fight scenes, and it was very UFC heavy too. I didn't realize they were going to actually have like UFC branding throughout the
Hmm.
movie too. So that was, made it more legit, I think, for realism purposes at least.
Yeah,
But it was
I hadn't
entertaining.
watched.
I don't think it was a very good movie, but it was entertaining
It
though.
was enjoyable. Yeah, it was actually better than I thought it would be. I thought Conor McGregor was better than I thought he would be, but I think maybe he is that crazy, and he's sort of had some charisma to him in that movie. I thought.
Absolutely.
I th- so Yeah, that was something that I guess I hadn't expected. Um, I thought Jake Gyllenhaal was pretty funny in it. I thought it was weird though that the there were like the love interest and the sheriff who were daughter and father were
Right.
some like randomly vaguely European. I think they're both Portuguese actors. Why how some like weird accented Portuguese guy became a sheriff in small town Florida, and then his daughter,
Yeah.
who the other person there who has a strange foreign exotic accent, how they are both in that area for no apparent reason. That was the odd bit of miscasting, I think.
Yeah.
Quite makes
Were you,
sense.
were you surprised when you found out they were related though in the movie?
It made sense because they were the only ones who talked funny in that movie that didn't have American accents. And they thought, okay, well, it made sense that maybe a doctor would be from someplace else that would have maybe a
Sure.
strange foreign accent, uh, or but then the sheriff though that doesn't make any sense. You're not gonna nobody in some small podunk town, no one's gonna hire some sheriff with a very strange accent as their. It was a little bit like in the movie Bridesmaids, where Chris O'Donnell was the cop in Wisconsin for some reason, even though he was Irish, how he had this Irish accent, became a police officer in the United States. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, it was a little bit like that, but I thought the movie was pretty well acted. I think it needed. I liked the intellectual background that Patrick Swayze provided in the original one. His
Yeah.
kind of Zen Buddhism kind of meditation, which
Yeah.
made it. Uh, and I thought I liked. I don't know. I still like the original one a little better, but I thought I appreciate what they try to do with the new one. If they, yeah, I guess it. Um, yeah, it was. I didn't expect Post Malone to be out of it so quickly. He was in the very beginning of the movie.
Yeah. I didn't expect him to be I thought maybe he would be one of the musical acts or something in the bar, but he was a fighter at the very beginning, right?
Yeah, he was the
That
one
was I didn't expect that at all.
who
Yeah.
wasn't going to fight against Jake Gyllenhaal,
Yeah.
who had actually killed a man in the middle of the ring, which is why he left the Ultimate Fighting Championship, I suppose. But yeah, it was an okay movie. I would say it was better than I expected.
Yeah.
Sure, I didn't
Well, I
expect.
think too, like when Jessica Williams is the owner of the bar, but she's usually really good at stuff too. So I was like thought that the movie would be better than I expected right away when she showed up right away. She's in some good stuff here. She was on the Daily Show as a correspondent earlier in her career, and then was in Shrinking recently, which was a pretty good show too,
Okay,
with Harrison Ford and yeah, no, that has a really good cast too. Have you seen Shrinking?
no,
It's worth watching.
okay,
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. There were a lot of like TV actors in that movie though. That are in a lot of other things, including
yeah.
the sheriff is in a lot of like international TV shows too.
Speaking of great acting, should we move on to the international soccer? Uh, Seeing the flips and the flops and the you know simulation as they call it in soccer,
Yes. Right.
simulating the dives, the pratfalls, the horrific seeming injuries that suddenly they're okay after a couple of minutes of writhing and pain on the ground. Um,
I miss the magic spray days though. That was like an explanation for why they could recover so quickly was this magic spray. They don't do that anymore though.
yeah, there's a little bit of gamesmanship, I guess, as a very pleasant way to put it, in soccer. But also there's kind of the corruption and the incompetence and all that stuff that goes with it. And it seems like the United States was kind of found itself in some of that, uh, and in the last game at least, and maybe the Panama game as well, when they failed to make it out of the group stage. They were in the same group C, and the top two teams would make it to the knockout stage. They lost last night to Uruguay 1-0, which maybe wasn't unexpected because Uruguay is a good team, but they lost also to Panama, a team they usually beat, and they lost. And they beat Bolivia, but they finished third in their group out of four, so they did not make it to the final eight. Is this a disappointment with the United States, or is it something that you saw coming? What do you think of the USS? Do they need to revamp their system and do something different, or are they just it's just kind of bad luck?
Well, I mean the loss to Panama, I think was yeah, basically one issue that they had was the early red card, which meant they had to play basically the entire game with a man down, which is kind of a dumb way to play a sport. Uh, anyway, like the fact that they can actually do that, from the official standpoint, there's just so much power by the officials to affect the game. I think Weah probably deserves to be ejected, but I don't know. It seems like, ejecting a player like in hockey, you can eject a player without having to play the rest of the game down a man. They would be replaced or after, some
Yeah.
amount of time when they might play shorthanded. That to me, that makes a lot more sense. I personally think the game of soccer is not great as a whole anyway. Like, there are much better sports to watch as a fan anyway. But I don't know. I think the U.S. team is going to have a really hard time winning competitions just in general. I don't think they have the best athletes in the country playing the sport. Uh, I don't know how we can expect them to try to win tournaments. I think we should be more satisfied with them just having good showings than anything. So this seems fine as like where they fell out of the tournament seems about where our expectations should be for the team. Is that not true? Do
I,
you think
I
that we
think they
should be
expect the
more
U.S. to
hopeful
make
than
it out
that?
of the group stage. I think
Yeah.
expect to make it to the knockout round, and anything can happen in the knockout rounds. Um, maybe the biggest controversy that ended up happening, it didn't end up mattering because Panama won its game against Bolivia by enough
Mhm.
goals, was that the United States allowed a goal to Uruguay that seemed to be offsides, according, and they even reviewed it on VAR, and it looked like they kind of tortured themselves to make it not offsides. So it was an off it was on a free kick, and there was a shot, and the rebound went to an Uruguay player who was offside on the original free kick when the ball was in the air.
Mm.
So um, it shouldn't have counted, but supposedly somebody's toe was far enough back compared to the other guy's body, and they made it seem like it was okay. But like, had the video review system been as sophisticated as the one that they were using in the European Championships, it would definitely not have been a goal. You could see it with your own eyes, but they
Mm.
basically ruled that, oh, it was close enough, so we're going to give the benefit of the doubt to the scorer, or at least that's what the um, official explanation probably would be. So, but they, at best, even with that goal disallowed, it would have been a 0-0 game. The U.S. would have tied it and still not been able to advance. So it didn't end up mattering. Um,
If they would have held on, yeah.
yeah.
I mean, chances are Uruguay wouldn't have been playing defensive for the whole remainder of the game after they scored that goal like they did.
Well, it didn't matter if Uruguay tied or not. They were going to win the group, so
Yeah.
they had enough.
But but then, they may have pushed forward more. I know, like it was pretty early when the U.S. like made their substitutions and put all their like offensive striker type players in.
Yeah.
Uruguay made their substitutions and put all defensive players in. So it's they decided how they were going to play out the game based on the score at the time too. So I mean, there's no guarantee that they would have seeded in a goal in some
No,
stupid fashion. But
the U.S. didn't really even come close to scoring ever. So it was one of those things. The U.S. doesn't have strikers that are
yeah,
have a nose for goal in the way that some of these other countries have developed. Pulisic's their best player, but he is not a striker. He sometimes will have a good goal scoring moment here and there, but he's a playmaker rather than a kind of finisher.
true. Yeah.
So maybe one couple of the new um guys, Balogun, Florin Balogun, who scored one of the goals against Bolivia, he maybe will be uh, a possibility going forward, maybe as a goal scorer. But yeah,
So the
I
team
think
did only manage to score 3 goals in the group stage combined across the 3 games. I mean, that's not really gonna cut it though, right? I mean,
Canada scored one goal across 3 games and they made it to the final eight.
they
So
did, they have advanced. Yes.
yeah, so you don't have to score very many goals if you don't allow very many goals. So it just kind of depends on what group you're in and what happens. But um, we have 8 teams left in the Copa America. We also have 8 teams left going forward now in the Euro 2024 championships. Uh, so, do you we in do you should we make bets on who we think is going to win the those tournaments coming up? So let's I'll
As
run.
degenerate gamblers, Mike, we have to bet on something, and there's nothing to bet on right now. So yes, we should bet on these 2 tournaments, right?
Yes, so I will run through the um Euro 2024 final eight matchups. And so we'll pick one team each. I'll go first. And
You won the pre-show coin toss
yeah,
to make the first selection. Is that correct?
yes. So we have Spain against Germany in one quarterfinal, Portugal and France in the other quarterfinal. And that's the same half of the bracket. That's the much more difficult half of the bracket. Then the next half, the other half is England, Switzerland, Netherlands, Turkey. Um, and it might be wise for me to go with England or maybe the Netherlands in that easier half of the bracket. But I still think that the best team so far this tournament has been Spain, even though they're playing in Germany and they have a very tough matchup against Germany. I think Spain is going to win Euro 2024. So I'm going to pick Spain as my uh, winner. I believe they are plus 390, their odds to win. So I'm going to pick Spain plus 390. How about you, Dr. Scott?
Spain plus 390. And I believe I'm taking Portugal
Ooh,
at,
Portugal.
what is it? Plus 750.
Portugal plus 750. I was thinking you might take the Netherlands.
Oh wait, I was gonna take the Netherlands. Wait, who the Netherlands playing
They're
in the first
playing
game?
Turkey.
Turkey, that's right. I'm gonna take the Netherlands.
Netherlands are
Forget Portugal. I'm going with Netherlands.
plus 700.
Plus 700. Slightly better odds. Thanks for reminding me.
Now, if Netherlands win, you'll have to give me some of that money because I was
That's
the one
right.
who helped you pick the Netherlands.
That's
Um,
right.
but yeah, and in the Copa America, we don't have odds yet for at least not on FanDuel yet for the final eight.
Oh,
But we have quarterfinals set. Argentina against Ecuador will play on 4th of July. Venezuela, Canada will play on the 5th. Colombia, Panama, and Uruguay, Brazil will both play on Saturday the 6th. So it looks like the tougher half is that Uruguay, Brazil, Colombia, Panama half compared to Argentina, Ecuador, Venezuela, Canada. So it looks like Argentina has the easier path forward, um, easier half of the bracket. And you're picking first in the Copa America finals. Do you like Argentina's chances? They're currently number one in the FIFA World Rankings.
guess I took a little bit longer odds in the Euro, so I think I better go a little safer this time in the Copa America. So I think I will take Argentina Yeah, having to go through Ecuador in the first game, and then the winner of Venezuela, Canada. I think that puts them likely to the final, where hopefully they can take care of whichever team emerges from the other side. So I will give
According,
Argentina.
according to Fox Sports, I don't have the FanDuel odds yet. Argentina is plus 130,
Okay.
right? They're the shortest odds.
They
Uh,
do have odds for the individual games on FanDuel now, but they don't have the tournament
yeah, so
final.
Fox Sports is telling me plus 130 for Argentina.
Okay.
I'm actually going to pick a little longer odds. Brazil and Uruguay play first. I think the winner of that game is going to win, and I think Uruguay is going to win. So, and they're plus 550. Brazil's plus 250. Uruguay's plus 550. So I think I like Uruguay uh, to uh, to go forward. Uh,
The early odds on that game are pretty close. Minus 124 for Brazil, plus 102 for Uruguay. Does that affect your bet then, Mike? No, because you're
no,
basically saying that the tournament is being decided in that game, essentially, right?
yeah, and I think Uruguay has been better in qualification this year than it's in CONMEBOL qualification this year than Brazil has. So I like the upset. So I'm gonna go uh, Uruguay. So I don't know they're they're my since they beat the United States. Uh, I think it'll help the United States look a little better. But also Uruguay's they're a very solid team. They're probably the third, but usually the one of the top three teams still in South America. They've won two World Cups, none since I think 1950. But they're I think they're still going to be pretty good. So I'm going to say Uruguay beats the Brazilians. The U.S. actually tied Brazil in the run up to the Copa America, so maybe Brazil isn't that good if they aren't any better than the USA. So this might be so I like Uruguay and maybe an Argentina Uruguay final, a Rio de la Plata Clasico.
Morning Track Power Hour would enjoy that, as they would be our picks meeting in the finals then. Yes.
Just as if Spain and the Netherlands met the finals, just like the finals of the 2010 World Cup, I believe was Spain and the Netherlands. So that would be another good matchup. So we'll see how those shake out. Yeah, I think we have maybe a week, almost 2 weeks probably before that we know what the end of the those tournaments are. So we'll tune back in next week and see how our bets are doing. Maybe we'll have to recalibrate next week if our teams are knocked out. But yeah, should yeah, but that's the world of international soccer and its intrigue and pageantry. Um, so the United States has been eliminated from Copa America, but the Royals have not yet been eliminated from playoff contention, even though it looked like maybe they were down and maybe turning into um, pumpkin like we thought they were at the beginning of the season. But they righted the ship, it looks like, against Cleveland. They won 3 out of 4 against the first place team. They're back in wild card position, and they're 8 games above 500. Their game has been delayed tonight against the
Tampa.
Rays, but
Yeah.
maybe that'll finish tonight. Who knows? Let's hope it's not
Seems like
suspended.
the rain is letting up, so it's
Okay, maybe not.
possible they will get the game in. They have not called it yet. So
That's
usually if
good.
they don't expect it to let up, then they would have already called it, I think. So uh, but they have, yeah, reclaimed that final wild card spot as of right now. They're still in. If the season ended right now, they would be a playoff team. And yeah, some of their hitters seem to be coming around. Michael Massey is back with the team, although he's DHing. Have you followed too closely recently with what they've done, like, defensively?
Yeah, they put Michael Garcia as second base, and he's been CJ Alexander at third mostly. Um,
So they called him up CJ Alexander, expecting that he would play for a while, but he went hitless in his first two games, and then he sat on the bench for almost a whole week without playing at all. And then they had Lofton playing at third. They didn't
Yeah,
switch Garcia back to third. They left him at second. So I mean, some of the stuff they've been doing is like it's just bizarre.
I think
Yet
maybe they think,
somehow it's worked out okay, but I think part of why it's worked out is because Massey's bat is back in the lineup again. I think that helps. So
I wouldn't be
it's
surprised
very
if we
odd.
saw Garcia as a long-term second baseman because his defense is so good. And I think second base defense is probably more important than third base defense. He doesn't quite maybe have the bat for a third baseman. He's got more of a second baseman. That kind of leaves Massey though, kind of maybe he played Massey DH more because of his back injury history.
Yeah,
Uh, you want to leave him off the field. And with Velasquez down to Omaha, there's no DH that you need to really put in other than maybe put Salvi in every once in a while at DH.
Pasquantino or somebody they can switch. They can put place out first and Pasquantino at DH, or
Yeah.
there are
Um,
other permutations they can have at DH. It just seemed odd that they would move Garcia to second. At the same time, they were talking about him not being able to get enough hits to stay in the leadoff position. So it seems like you might push him down in the lineup rather than have him
yeah.
change positions. I don't know how that's supposed to help him hit better. Or it
I
seems
don't
like they could put up with him hitting for a lower batting average if he's playing second base instead of third. I guess makes some sort of you can at least connect
Yeah.
some dots, I guess. But that just seems strange you would leave him in the leadoff spot. He has come along a bit in the last week, though, with hitting a little more.
Hmm.
He's mostly just been really unlucky, but uh,
Yeah,
I don't know.
some of the other
As soon as you
bats.
start to think you have the team figured out, they start, playing better again all of a sudden. And they did score 10 runs in a game even again, which they had not done for quite a while. So that was, a nice surprise.
Mhm.
I don't know
Yeah.
where it came from. They've been playing so like offensively stunted baseball for a long time that yeah, I did not expect a 3 out of 4 game stretch against the division leaders.
Yeah, I was pleasant surprised. It looks like maybe some of the very quiet, lethargic bats have been heating up a little bit lately. Renfro's over 200 now. Kyle Isbell is well over 200 now. So it seems that they've been heating up at the bottom of the lineup. Melendez has been still kind of cold, but maybe he'll turn it around.
He
So
has he has 2 hits in today's game, but it may if it gets rained out,
well, it's been 6 innings already, so
it would
or
become a final and they would still count.
5 innings already. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
but it's yeah. I the pitching has still been good. The bullpen needs help, and I think there needs to be another outfield bat. But I think the Royals can. I think they can at least finish above 500 this year. I wouldn't be surprised if that happens. I'm not so sure now that they'll make the playoffs because you have Boston heating up. You also have out west Houston and the Rangers hanging around, and those were two teams that were seen as better than the Royals by a long shot coming into the year. So I'm not so sure the Royals will be able to hang off for a playoff spot, but anything's possible. But it's looking like a positive year at the very least.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I
What?
know I know you and I may have different opinions on what they should do at the trade deadline though. You've already mentioned you think that they should look for an outfielder, bullpen help. Maybe they should I think they should maybe look for maybe a reliever, but they shouldn't do anything else. They really should not try to make trades because they don't know how to evaluate talent at any level. It's just jeopardizing the team, in my opinion, if they try to make changes because they don't know what they're going to do to the team. I don't
Hmm.
trust their management and ownership at all to make the right decisions.
I don't. I think they. I don't. If they don't know what they're doing, they they're lucky right now. This might be their only shot for a while, so maybe they should try to.
Well,
Um,
see, I think I think they seem to be going on an upward trajectory with what they have, but
yeah,
the changes that they have made, there's only been one decent one, and that was like signing Lugo. Really, everything else has been either total luck or a disaster for like most of the players that they've used. They
that's
have
true.
not been very good. Because I know, like Will Smith, they thought maybe he could be the closer start of the year, and they've really only used him in extremely low leverage situations just to work his ERA down. So like he's basically acting as one of those final roster spots. If you're putting a team together right now, he'd be like one of the lowest relievers on the ladder right now. So and they thought he was going to be the closer basically at the beginning of this season. So I don't think they've been very good at their decision making on like player acquisition. I'd be afraid that they would give up something too much to get something that they're not going to get a return on, just because of basically all of the transactions they've made over the last year.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because
I
chances
don't.
are they're going to go after if they go after an outfielder, they're going to try to get some kind of utility type player, and they don't need utility players. Just
They need a
depth
strong bat.
is
They need somebody who has the capability of hitting 30 home runs and being, those players aren't usually on the market though at the trade deadline, un, unless
They
somehow
don't.
they're
I don't think they're interested in doing like the rental type thing. They think they want probably one more year of control at least
hmm,
in a contract that they would receive. And I don't know if they're going to find that. And the asking price is going to be so high that I don't know if they can really fill it. So I don't think they should do anything besides try to find, some bullpen help.
yeah.
But that may be in the form of a starter who's like near the end of his career kind of thing that like might be able to transition to the bullpen. But they may already have that and something like this Bubic who's seemingly being shifted into a reliever role at AAA right now. So we may see him pretty soon coming back from his elbow injury.
Yeah, because there's no really room for him in the rotation since it's been so good. Um, Even fifth starter Alec Marsh since he's come back from injury has been solid. Waka has been solid.
Yeah.
Lugo's been the best pitcher in the American League. Reagan's has had some bad luck, but has been a really solid pitcher. Singer's been pretty solid as well. So
Yeah.
their ERAs are hovering around just the 3 point mark, and Lugo's is just barely over 2 right now. So yeah, the starting pitching has been fantastic. It seems like they've been good at evaluating starting pitching lately. Um, you
Sort of.
know,
I think they've been just sort of lucky because
sort of like,
they had the same strategy last year. It just didn't work because they had the same players. Instead of Greinke, they have Waka. Instead of Jordan Lyles, they have Seth Lugo. On paper, they're the same two starters that they had last year. They're just different guys. But this year, it just
Lugo.
worked better.
Yeah, Lugo I think has been better than Lyles has always been just an innings eater at best.
Yeah,
Lugo has,
but that's what they thought they were going to do. And I think that's what they thought they were getting with Lugo. And it turns out he's actually an ace. Reagan's
yeah.
looked like he was like on the scrap heap in Texas because
Mhm.
he'd been like sort of wedged out of the bullpen, even though they had projected him to be a high end starter, but he'd kind of flamed out a bit, and it's just been lucky that he's really played like this since he's come to Kansas City. It's fantastic, but I don't think anything like statistically showed that he would be this kind of starter. It's been very, very lucky.
Yeah, it's hard to say because the team has been so bad for so long and they were so bad last year. Um, maybe um, maybe it's uh, the work pitching coach Brian Sweeney has been he's really been good at working with the starters. I don't know. Maybe he's the magical uh,
I
guy.
know you had an interesting strategy that we had talked about a while ago about how to try to like utilize a less than ideal starting rotation where you would like have like a team of three relievers basically set together to pitch like one game. But I almost think they should do like pair Waka with Bubic and just have them throw basically that game. And so
So
then
like
you have
maybe
like a righty starting the game, and then partway through they just flip to the other guy, so that Waka doesn't have to try to face like the lineup three full times. He can just try to go through it, once or once plus maybe most of the way the second time, and then switch totally flip the handedness of the pitcher. Then you might be able to steal a game basically just on something like that.
yeah, well, Walker's been all right even without that. So I guess he's been
But
better so
but
far.
the opponent batting averages go like through the
Yeah, that's true.
ceiling.
Yeah,
Hits like second and third times through the lineup. So
yeah,
you know,
maybe you want
flipping
Bubic's.
flipping it to a different pitcher might actually be the way around,
Mhm.
having that happen all the time.
Yeah. Well, should we wrap up today's episode of the Morning Report? I think we've covered our bases pretty well today. Baseball pun intended. So we've got the 4th of July coming up. The hot dog eating contest, although it's not going to have Kobayashi or Joey Chestnut in it on the 4th of July. We've got Wimbledon going on. We've got uh, the Tour de isn't the Tour de France. Uh, uh, Actually, it starts on the 5th of July, I think, or maybe just no, it's already started. The Tour de France. So we've got that going on. So there are a few different kind of midsummer sporting events happening. The Olympics will heat up later this month. So got that stuff going on. We didn't talk about the NFL today because there's no real news, no real happenings other than I guess the DirecTV lawsuit. We don't know exactly what's going to come of that, whether that's going to be appealed. I'm just going to be appealed, probably whether any of us are going to get any money out of it. Probably not. But so we have those things.
Huge judgment though, wasn't it near $5 billion?
Seven, yeah, $4.7 billion, I think, something like that, for um the Sunday Ticket kind of lawsuit. I had Sunday Ticket late last season. I ended up getting it because I wanted to watch the Chiefs and some other games. I got it on YouTube TV, and I'm thinking about just getting it this year for YouTube on YouTube TV. 'Cause it was fun watching all the games at once. It's
Yeah.
like $550 though, but it was uh
One having the team that you're like the primary fan of is outside of your region, right? Since you do not live in the Kansas City area, it seems to make a lot of
yeah.
sense to do that anyway. That way, you're guaranteed to be able to watch Chiefs games if you want to.
Yeah, the Chiefs do play a lot of primetime and single
Yeah,
uh, games, but yeah, I think
the
maybe it's
premier time slot and a lot of but they won't if they're up against a regional team, then they won't be on, right?
no. Yeah, so I live in AFC North, NFC East uh country basically. So I get a lot of Washington games, Philadelphia games, Pittsburgh, Baltimore, some Cincinnati and Cleveland, even Buffalo, New York areas. So I ended up getting a lot of those Eastern market games. So the Chiefs, yeah, might not always, especially if their division this year does not turn out to be very good. It seems like maybe all of the division teams are rebuilding. So some of those AFC West matchups, especially, might not be very suitable for prime time. So there might be more of those regional action uh, games the Chiefs will play. So maybe it will be good to have the Sunday Ticket. And I like to watch. I just want to watch anything. That's any football game that's on. I will watch. So um, it's.
Unless it's the UFL, or did you watch all the UFL
I didn't
games?
watch any UFL. If I did not have a relationship with a significant another, or I had to go anywhere, I would just watch football all the time. So it would be uh so it's not my desire uh to not watch the games. It's I guess my desire for human interaction, I guess, or I feel the need to do that. Um and so
Outside
I don't
forces influencing your football
outside
watching.
forces influencing my football watching exactly. So um I think Dr. Scaff, you have fewer outside forces influencing your football watching.
Yeah,
You have fewer. You don't have to drive.
unrestricted football watching, but I
You
don't
don't have to
watch the.
drive back. Yeah, you don't have to drive back and forth to Pittsburgh or some other city every weekend
No.
either. So I do a lot of that. So there's less time to devote, but I live vicariously through you, Dr. Skiff. So I hope you watch the U. We'll start watching UFL next year and watch more um, football. But uh, I guess I could also live vicariously through our many legions of viewers and listeners here at the
There
One
you go.
Track Power, since they keep sustain us, and the reason that we keep going these many broadcasts that we do every week. So we thank you for your continued patronage. As always, I am Dr. Michael Warman. He is Dr. Andrew Scaff. We are the One Trick Power Hour. Please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel or our podcast, which is available on many different delivery devices and podcast uh, platforms. And we wish your teams, if they are playing, good luck. We wish you good luck in the if you're making bets on the major soccer championships that are now reaching the kind of the boiling point. And we hope you have a happy 4th of July weekend. Hope you make it through with all of your fingers intact. I won't be playing with any fire. I'm not a fireworks or firecracker person, but uh, who knows what our viewers uh, get up to? Maybe they're into death defiance on a daily basis, but I play it pretty safe here at the Mormon Manse. But um, yeah, so until we'll hopefully we won't hear any awful stories about our viewers and um, their exploits, uh, notorious exploits over the weekend. So happy 4th of July, Dr. Scaff. Uh, and as always, we'll see everybody else next week. And until then, we'll wish you a good day.